right, folks, Philadelphia 76ers legend Doctor Julius Irving, Dr. J, rapper Rick Ross, and hundreds of protesters are calling for the release of rapper Meek Mill from jail, who's in there on a violation of probation charge, serving 2 to 4. Protesters flooded the streets of Philadelphia in support of the rapper, whose real name is Robert Williams, last night. The Philadelphia rapper was sentenced to 2 to 4 years. I said that already, didn't I? In state prison for violating this probation. Many called the punishment harsh and said the judge is biased. The group then gathered outside the courthouse.
Meek Mill's a good friend of mine, man. He's a real good dude. So, you know, just to have the city behind him, man, and, you know, I hope everything worked out for him.
Think that sentence was harsh?
You
think that sentence was harsh?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I think so.
Protesters flooded the streets of Philadelphia in support of the rapper, whose real name is Robert Williams, last night. The Philadelphia rapper was, let's go, All right, so we got Meek Mills now, right?
Yeah.
All right now, let's start with Tiffany. Meek Mill's been on probation for 10 years. He got 8 months in jail and then 5 years probation. He's been on doubly as long as he should have been. He's violated probation 2 or 3 times, violently. Once fighting in an airport, the gun and drug charges were what he pled guilty to, was found guilty on, and this judge just isn't having it 10 years later. He's violated probation by getting arrested, which is on its face a violation. He has ignored permission from her, ignored getting it for him to travel. And I got to tell you, he signed a document saying that he would honor these probation rules, essentially saying he can't own guns probably, that he can't travel without her permission, that he can't consort with felons, and he can't get arrested again. You know, if you violate probation, if you get arrested, that's all I got to prove. Well, government has to prove. Doesn't have to prove that you did it. And so she gave him chance after chance, even community service, jailed him one time for about 6 months before he got out. And it just seems this case is not about a racist criminal justice system, Tiffany. It seems like the issue is the lack of personal responsibility and belief on this rapper's part that the judge means business.
I disagree. I don't think that is the issue here.
Well, you'd agree with all my facts, wouldn't you?
Well, you are
agree
right.
with all of them, right?
Scott, you are. I don't.
No? Where was I factually
wouldn't.
wrong?
I'll tell you why.
Where was I factually wrong?
What fact did I mistake? I'll tell you why here.
Okay.
If you think about, you said this is not a racial issue, right?
Facts.
Facts.
Where were my facts wrong?
Listen. If you let me talk, if you're doing what Roland does, I literally, I think about how this black female judge has now incarcerated Meek Mill.
Who cares about
Robert Williams, Bob, whatever,
save his
AKA.
life.
I don't think she cares about him, and that's where I think you're wrong, Scott. Here's why.
But
This morning, the FBI came out and said that they're going to investigate the relationship that the judge has with Meek Mill. Here's why. There is an article that came out this morning that she wants him to sign to a different record label. This is consequential to her relationship and her issues, in my suspicion, to her relationship with Meek Mill. Number one, because you did not say this, and I want to make sure we add the facts. I want to make sure we add the facts. That his probation officer said that he does not need jail time.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
If the government doesn't recommend jail time.
And this judge who has a biased relationship to Meek Mill, that is why the FBI, why would the FBI get involved in a case about Meek Mill in the first place?
FBI investigates everything. And be honest with you,
they also called this black identity extremists and said it was domestic terrorists in this country. Everybody on this panel.
Probation. Hold on, Tiffany. Violation of probation. Even if you're right about the judge wanting him to sign with another record label, which I'll be honest with you, that sounded to me like an off-the-cuff remark, a part of a bigger discussion about getting his life together. But let's say that's true. Hold on. Let's say
getting his life together. He signed to Rock Nation. His life is together.
Well, that's your opinion, but the judge may have thought that Rock Nation and him being connected to Rock Nation was contributing to his continual violation of probation. I don't know if that's true or not, but here's the deal. Let's say everything you say is right. Let's say the judge was inappropriate, right? At the same time, the judge is getting Meek Mills after he violates probation. And whether they can both be right, you could be right, And the fact of the matter is, he'd still be locked up for 2 to 4 years, not because the judge is biased, but because he violated probation at least 3 or 4 times.
And so let's talk about something that's very serious.
These are separate buckets now.
There are separate buckets, and I'm going to separate them even more. So you talked about how it's a violent crime than what he did and how he's on probation for the last 10 years. What he's done to violate probation was not violent. He popped a willy and broke up a fight, and the police officers...
he was arrested for fighting in the airport.
No, go back and look at the record.
Yes, he was.
The police officer, Scott, said that he was breaking up the fight.
Doesn't matter. So he got arrested.
So if he's breaking up the fight, that doesn't matter that he got arrested. He was breaking up the fight. If you get arrested,
you cannot jaywalk.
If you get arrested and then you kill people and you get released for $5 million in bail, that doesn't make it right either.
I got 2 other guests to get to, Tiffany.
Arrest, Scott.
We're going to stay on this subject. We're going to come back, and I'm going to get the other 2 guests involved. Okay?
You just don't like rap music. It's okay.
We're going to get back to this topic ahead. All right, welcome back. Our panel, Avis Jones-DeWeaver, Deontay Johnson, and Tiffany Dina Lofton, Meek Mill defender
and rap
par excellence.
Aficionado.
Here's the deal. So Avis, let me ask you this. When Meek Mill was in court and pled guilty or was convicted of gun charges and drug charges,
why you look at me when you said gun charges?
I couldn't help it. I got a bad eye. Okay, I got a bad eye. You know, Meek Mill signed a document for probation report. He had to stay drug clean, couldn't get arrested again. You can't even jaywalk, okay? I've been in this game 30 years, right? At some point, after 8 to 10 years, when does the issue of personal responsibility take over for Meek Mills and him serving his time? Because he's almost 10 years into it now, and he could have been done with this at 5 if he had just done what he was supposed to do.
Absolutely. You know, I am probably going to raise the R of Black Twitter when I say that, you know, hey.
I have already.
Yeah, you know.
I have already.
Meek Mill, baby Bill, but he ain't Meek. Okay, he's been up to stuff for a while now. Now, I do believe that this particular response, I believe, quite frankly, is rather excessive to me. But, you know, at some point, you have to get people's attention. And, you know, I'm not crying any tears.
He served 8 months, then after another violation of probation, he served 6 months. And I'll be honest with you, the judge has the option and full discretion.
It's her right.
To sentence him. He'll serve about 1.5 years.
We'll see.
Not that that's light, but what I'm saying is,
I'm about to say,
you have several violations.
Like he got a vacation or something.
Listen, but got several violations.
But one thing I can say that it does point attention to.
He must have wanted it.
Well, I don't know that he wanted it. I think he thought he'd get away with it. But
the vote take you where you want to be, as my mother used to say.
That's true. Your actions.
So his vote, his feet took him out of the city without permission.
Yeah.
Took him to being arrested. Took him to wherever he's going, and his feet are taking him to jail right now.
They are. You know, the thing is, though, it is bringing attention to an issue that I think does need attention, because there are disparities as it relates to, you know, sentencing, as it relates to who does have access to even probation and who doesn't, in terms of the weight of how the law. But this particular one, frankly, I'm not defending me. You know, I'm a Drake fan, so I'm just like, hey.
One of our panelists is defending him. Deontay?
Like I said, I'm reminded of what my grandmother always said. You make a bed, you lay.
Your grandmother too, huh?
Yeah, you make a bed.
We're both from Illinois. See, we got them grandmothers from Mississippi, probably.
You know,
go right ahead.
You make a bed, you lay in it. You know, you sound like a guy who has taken advantage of the justice system far long enough. You know, it's time. It's about time. You know, we need to set examples for the younger citizens and his supporters.
Exactly.
It's
Y'all
that
talking about Meek Mill like he's Dylan Roof or something. This is not the same situation. He's been defeating the criminal justice system this whole time. It's time we bring him to justice.
He's manipulated.
We're painting on Meek Mill right now.
If we need to take rappers and make an example out of them, we should, because then, you know.
How about we make examples about white people? How about we do that? How about we make examples about white police officers, white judges, Donald Trump? How about we make examples about them?
I mean, Tiffany, you can defend a black rapper for breaking the law all you want, but at the end of the day, he broke the law.
And you can defend a Republican who's running for office in Alabama who just harassed a 16-year-old girl when he was 30.
Here's the supposition, right? If Meek Mills was a white rapper with the same record of violating probation as he did, right? Whether the judge was black or white, there is enough evidence and information in the record. Regardless of the prosecution, regardless of the probation report, it doesn't really matter. The judge has that discretion. And I guarantee you, if he were white, he'd be serving time too. I just
I
believe
don't
that.
think that's the
What do
case.
you think he would get if he were white? Not that this is pure conjecture.
I'm about
What do
to
you
say,
think?
first of all, the only white rapper that I legitimize is Eminem. Other than that, there is no scenario where I would think of a white rapper
Let's
in
say
this
he was a
situation in
white
this case.
street gang member.
Well, no, but think
Oh, you mean the one who just
Oh, he just got bail. But my point is this. All I'm saying to you is this. It's the record, and it's the irresponsibility of Meek Mill that dominates and is the only bucket that really matters. And I'm going to tell you, black people and brown people have got to get their arms around, yes, the criminal justice system is racist, but yes, we need to take better personal responsibility. And at the risk of sounding like Deontay, gosh, I did.
You're getting close.
All righty? All right, last word, 10 seconds. Deontay.
You know, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm glad that he is in jail.
Wow.
I am, sorry. But I'm glad he's in jail. And you know what? I'm glad that our justice system is taking advantage of. I mean, it's basically, you know, giving him the charge. Give him the
All right,
charge.
that'll have to be the last word.
Weekdays on TV One.
I will never lie to you.
Oh my God.
Roland Martin.
He doesn't want to talk to us. He wants to ignore us.
Uncensored.
Hell no. That ain't gonna cut it, boo.
Unapologetic.
No, that is fundamentally false. You are wrong. He
Unfiltered.
wants an America where we all look alike. He ain't talking about black people.
Unrelenting.
You better go work out, because you got a fight on your hands.
NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on TV One.